This is Dr. Gasas. It's Tuesday, 28 July 2026. And this is really a message for Hilda Solis. So I've seen your food giveaways using taxpayer discretionary spending. I think you're an incompetent buffoon. I don't know how else to say it. And here's why. Under COVID, people were out of work for years and you didn't do any food giveaways. Under COVID, you literally shut down our churches. You attacked our churches by shutting them down, but you kept the liquor stores open. I'll give you $1,000 in cash on my YouTube channel if you can show me one research study that says this virus was smart enough to attack Catholic churches, but it avoided liquor stores. Again, everything you do is self-serving. To continue, under Joe Biden, we had the highest inflation in 50 years. You didn't do any food giveaways. Under Joe Biden, we had the highest gas prices ever, and you didn't do any food giveaways. Under President Obama, when you were a congresswoman and when you were Secretary of Labor, he removed 3 million illegal aliens, and he didn't say a peep. He put our kids in cages. You didn't say a peep. In fact, the only thing you did do is resign because you were under FBI criminal investigation. So back to this theme of discretionary spending. What could you have done it? Given that there's limited tax income other than you increasing our taxes again. Number one on the list, you could have given money for the people of the Palisades and Altadena to pay their deductible on their home insurance so they can rebuild their homes. Over 7,000 homes were lost. Over 19 people were killed. And maybe a handful of homes have been rebuilt, but over 6,900 homes have not been rebuilt. At this stage, unless those people plan on living to be 1,000 years old, they're going to be living on the streets. That would be priority one for discretionary spending. Number two, in 2023, the LA County Sheriffs by far had the highest rate of suicides in the country. We need to double that force by 50% to take the weight off the shoulders of the deputies who are working double shifts most of the time. The other thing you could have done is double the size of the behavioral science unit, the behavioral health unit for the sheriffs, to give them that behavioral health support that they deserve. But you didn't do that with discretionary spending because that would make sense. And third, and my personal pet peeve, is you didn't do anything with discretionary spending for American military veterans living on the streets. This is what makes you an absolute sleazy politician, because those American vets should have been at the top of the list. That's how you prioritize discretionary spending. But let's focus on your district. Let's focus on Boyle Heights. Have you given any food away there? Of course not. Before this great fire in June, any free food for Boyle Heights? Of course not. In 2023, there was a similar fire at this plant. Did you do any food giveaways then? Of course not. Boyle Heights is by far the poorest Latino neighborhood with the highest amount of undocumented immigrants. By far, it always has been since the 1940s. But no discretionary spending there. And after this great fire that lasted for over a week where people's health literally suffered, did you do any discretionary spending for food for them? Of course not. The only difference between Boyle Heights and all these areas where you gave free food away, as that the new areas all fall within the new 38th Congressional District. My conclusion is that this is how voters know that you're a sleazy politician. And if you're a voter listening to this, if you want the same failure of sleazy politicians, then by all means, vote for her. You're going to continue to have the highest inflation in the country, the highest unemployment, the highest housing prices, the highest homelessness, the highest drug abuse. You've got $25 billion that disappeared on a train to nowhere, and now these incompetent buffoons that Miss Solis supports, they want another $231 billion of your dollars. If you want the same pattern of failure, including failed schools, we now have some of the worst schools in the country under her so-called leadership. We had the sexual assault scandal in El Monte under her leadership that was present for year after year after year. If you notice, suddenly she has no leadership. She doesn't say a word about it. My point is, she's not a leader. She's an elected official, but I don't think she understands the first thing about leadership. If you want continued failure, please vote for her. If you want someone who has unblemished leadership and unblemished integrity, if you're a Democrat and if you're an independent, my plea to you is vote for me. If you want, contact me. I'll meet with any group, anytime, anywhere. I'll debate Miss Solis anytime, anywhere. Last thought for the morning, stay close to Christ.